Okay, we're recording and we're going to start the show in three, two, one. Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the Gold Times, episode 4 for March 18th, 2021. We are a screen pop culture podcast talking about anything on film, on a TV, on a computer, or even a phone. So I am your host, Oz Gold Times, and for our 4th episode, I have the absolute pleasure to introduce to you all today a massive geek. He's also a husband and a father. He's a very talented miniature painter artist, and he's also a grand funk master. I'm grateful to call this guy a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, it's AaronJBang. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Cue applause, right?
Cue applause.
Hey, there it is. What's up, man?
How's it going, man? Welcome to the show.
Okay, happy to be here.
Welcome. All right, let's get straight into things, and I've got my first couple of questions before we start any segments on the show. I've got a bunch of questions just for you.
Okay.
It's basically a bit of a history run, and to get to know you a little bit better about your you and like with screen media and stuff. So the first question is, tell us a brief rundown of your association with screen media. And that may be hobbies or maybe your job or both or something. What's going on?
Gotcha. Well, yeah, it's a combination of both hobby and job, right? It started for me, I want to say in like 2012 or 2013, right? And I was working a job here, a local job in the area, and would find like simulcasts and podcasts that were on YouTube, and especially people like the Long War Network, Kenny Boucher and Rob Bear, and all those pioneers basically were doing those weekly Wednesday night talks with Mike Haspel and Steve Juice, and they would just look like they were having an absolute blast. And I would pretty much like run home from my work and grab my plate of supper and sit and listen to them on YouTube doing their, just bullshitting about the week's hobby related content, what had happened with the local meta and 7th edition and then 8th edition tournament scenes, and et cetera. Yeah. And it's somewhere towards the end of that, Kenny Boucher started saying something about Twitch, right? He kept mentioning Twitch. Oh, Twitch is the next big thing, it's the new hotness, and you got to come and check out Twitch, right? And so in 2014 and around 2015, like the early parts of 2015, I started going and logging on Twitch, which at the time was exclusively video game content, right? Yeah. And checking out Kenny Boucher's Next Level Painting hobby stream a few times, right? At the same time, my health with my diabetes was getting worse, and my first serious complication from being a diabetic happened, and it basically ended my career out in the local economy, right? And so in 2015 and 2016, I was beginning to accept the fact that I was fully disabled now, and that I was going to be a stay-at-home, person, and that my career working for the man was over. So I began looking for alternative means of like restarting my career, basically,
Yeah.
right, and reimagining myself. And that little connection, that like 1 + 1 = light bulb kind of thing happened for me. And because I was still watching Kenny Boucher at the
Yep.
time on Twitch, and I was watching the Long War podcast and the Long War Network guys on YouTube, and they were like, Twitch, 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 Twitch. And so I thought to myself, why not go back into business, open a painting service again for myself, right? I
Yep.
can incorporate that and write off the taxes for things like upgrading my computer and my hardware and all that kind of thing. And the rest is kind of history. So I started streaming. I went online for the first time in 2016, and it's been many upgrades, and the rest, as they say, is history. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's kind of the genesis of my becoming an online content influencer and creator.
Yeah. Right.
So, and it's been, I from the beginning, I always wanted it to be a show that was based around the idea of a bunch of people getting together on a Friday or Saturday night and ordering a couple of pizza pies and a couple of 2 liters of Mountain Dew or root beer or whatever, and maybe playing some GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64, in between painting miniatures, and
Yep.
at the end of the night, maybe watching the Guns of Navarone, or
Yeah.
Bridge on the River Kwai, or something like that. That's what we used to do back in 20 years ago.
Yep.
So anyways, that's it.
Yeah. Right.
Mm.
Wow. Okay. That's that was a cool history lesson. That was awesome. Uh. All right. Next question is:
Sure.
Can you list your devices? If just a brief rundown of like maybe your top, in a handful,
Okay.
on your list them on your hands.
Okay.
List your devices and which one do you use the most and
The
which one do you
most.
use the least?
Okay, for my stream. Well, the nexus of my setup is my 2017 Dell, a desktop PC. I can't remember what all of the specs are on it, but I made sure to do a lot of research on that specific like pre-made tower.
Yep.
It is designed to be like a stream ready PC tower. So it's got something like 8 or 10 different USB 2.0 and 3.0 stats on it, or uplinks into it, right?
Yep.
The other thing was, at the time, I was um, I was approached by an old friend of mine who was upgrading his graphics card, right? So he gave me his old hand-me-down GeForce 8100 graphics card. We took out the stock one and put in the 8100,
Yep.
right? Which was a kind of an average graphics card at the time, but it also had 2 HDMI ports and a KDM port and a DVCI port and all that kind of thing. So it with all of that, I now have the ability to have up to 6 different monitors running all off of that one graphics card,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So that has been a huge boon to me, and I've
Yep.
just kind of slowly cherry picked, oh, I'm getting rid of this old PC monitor. It's a 21 inch, does anybody want it? And I'd be like, I do.
Yeah.
So I've got my 3 or 4 monitors here, Now I've got 3 dedicated monitors plus my 42-inch plasma screen television set, HDMI big screen television set, that are all connected to my PC now. And so I've got multiple monitor screens all over the place, right?
Yep.
That I'm just using all to bounce signals and all that kind of thing around.
Wow.
So that's the nexus of it, right?
Yeah.
Number 2 would be my so this is another thing I got from watching Kenny Boucher, right? Is I got a Sony CX405 digital camcorder, right? Now, digital camcorders are different than webcams because they don't have a USB port that you can just plug straight into a PC
Yep.
with a onboard driver and all that kind of thing. So in order for me to get this, I had to also get a capture card, right?
Yep.
And again, I just kind of sat and waited, and I found a used pair, right? They were sold as a pair together, right?
Yep.
An Elgato capture card and the Sony CX405, and I think I bought them together for, I want to say, $350,
Yep.
right? And the 405 brand new at the time was something like a $500 or $600 camcorder just in and of itself, because it has a and this was something that Boucher mentioned on Next Level, was it has a Hans Zeiss lens on it, right? Which is like this super high level lens on the camcorder, which allows me to drill way down into the details of my miniature, right? And so that whole thing, once I got it all like together and working, was has really been like kind of the main driving force of my show, because I'm known now for super high resolution close-ups of my
Yep.
work, and you can see exactly what I'm doing and how I'm applying my highlights and blending and things like that. So everything else is pretty stock on the rig. I've got a C920, which I'm talking to you with right now. I bought a Logitech C615 that I use for my palette cam. And the rest has basically been like things that I have, the lights and all that kind of thing. It's very like low tech garage. It's kind of like the white stripes of net, like Twitch streams, all
Yeah.
very
Cool.
low res, lo-fi. One of the things that I've just recently purchased that I'm pretty proud of, though, is I found an Audio-Technica compression microphone, an AT2020.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I found it used. The guy sold it to me for $25. Right.
Wow.
I know, which is crazy, because I found this on a Facebook buy sell trade, and I looked it up after I bought it, and it's a $250 to $300
Yeah.
compression microphone, right?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
It's in the couple $100 range. Yeah. 100%.
yeah. So brand new, it's like $250 to $300. He
He's just
sold it to
getting
me
rid of
for
it.
$25, man. And so
What?
that's
What a
the kind of
steal.
stuff that yeah, I know. I was like, you know what, I would be kicking myself if I didn't buy this. So
Yeah.
anyways, I just kind of sit there and like try and like patiently hunt for those deals on like Facebook and things like that. And I really encourage people to be frugal and patient whenever they're setting up their streaming rigs, because
Yeah.
those kind of deals are definitely out there. You just have to wait, and like they'll fall into your lap sooner or later.
100%.
So
Yeah. Right.
so
That's awesome.
hopefully that gives you an idea.
One
um
added question to that question: you do have a
yeah,
phone, right? You do have a
I do.
phone. You have a
I do.
smartphone, and you have. Do
Yep,
you have a tablet?
I do, actually. I don't use the phone for streaming, right?
No.
just because I think I've got a better setup without it, right?
So to answer the question, which one do you use the most and least, would be your streaming setup would be your most used device / devices.
Yeah, and the phone is definitely the least.
You use your phone the least.
Yeah, I use that
To
whenever
make phone calls, and that's it.
make phone calls, and I use it. I mean, it's got a very good camera on it. It's a Galaxy S10 Plus, right? And
Yeah.
so it's got a fantastic camera on it, but it's mainly used for still photography.
Yeah.
So I'll use it to take my shots for Instagram and things like that. That's all been used with the digital camera on the phone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the tablet I use is kind of like a save my PC kind of thing. It's running while I am streaming, but I only use it for links in the chat. So if somebody put something in the chat and I want to open it, I'll first open it in my tablet, right, which is a isolated system.
Yeah,
right?
that's smart.
Not connected to my PC.
Yep.
Right. And then I'll be like, okay, that's safe. So then I can go, I'll go to my PC and I'll share it with everybody.
Very safe.
So
yeah, I might start doing that on my phone. If someone links me something in the chat, I'll just open it up on my phone, and it's an isolated system. Yeah, that's very smart. I like that.
Right. So I mean, like, I would much rather be out a Surface Pro 2.
Yeah.
That which I mean, like, nothing is disposable. You know what I mean? But it's like, it's much less of an impact if I lose my Surface Pro, which is my backup tower, quote unquote, which I can like limp along to get my shows still produced and out there whenever, which I used whenever my PC tower went down, so but yeah, that's the phone is definitely the least used, and that's not to say that I don't use it. I just don't use it for streaming. So
okay. Well, last question to add on to this. Out of all your devices, nothing to do with stream, like, let's just say not streaming related. Streaming is included, but out of all your devices, out of all your uses, which one do you use the least out of everything?
Probably the palette cam, right? Okay. Which is my C615. It's always running. It's always there in the background, but I only use that as like a main presentation scene whenever someone has questions about like thinning the paint or mixing paint, things like that. It's definitely the lowest resolution of all of my cameras.
Yeah.
And it would be the first one that I replaced.
Okay.
So
all right, we got a couple more questions to go, and then we'll get straight into our first segment, which will be the news segment. Okay. Next question for you, Aaron. How many media subscriptions do you currently have? This can range from TV, movie streaming services, or game service subscriptions, or like a WoW subscription, or a Twitch subscription, or an Audible music subscription. How many do you have? And which one do you use the most?
Oh man. I mean, we have a lot of media subscriptions. Through our we have a Roku TV. Right? Okay. So we use let's see.
Wait, HBO. Roku costs money?
Well,
Roku is free.
Roku is free, right? But the subscriptions on it, the apps are not, right?
Oh, the Roku is just the box. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. So we've got Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, CBS, Spotify, HBO Max.
Wow.
I think that's all of them on the Roku that we use. Oh, okay. And Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Don't forget the Crunchyroll.
That's one of mine personally.
Yeah.
And then For gaming services, I've got Xbox Live with
Yep.
the gold account,
Yep.
which I've had for like 10 or 11 years now, something crazy. Um, that's about it, because everything is pretty much like shared across platforms,
Yep.
right? On here, I've got a Steam account, obviously, but that's not really like a paid service. And I don't know. Would you count cell phone provider stuff?
So would I count what?
A cell phone provider stuff?
Nah, that's not. Nah, I
No.
wouldn't count that.
Yep.
Nah.
Okay. And then I bought a lifetime subscription license to XSplit,
Yep.
mainly because of the online support, which I've used a couple of times. They
Yep.
always have like a technician available 24/7 for XSplit,
Yep.
which is different from OBS, which I think has like forums for users, but I don't think
Yep.
they have like a dedicated like corporate troubleshooting line,
Yeah.
right? And at the time in 2016, whenever I started all of this, I was like, nope, I am not technically that as savvy as you might think I am.
Yep. Yep.
So I think I'm probably going to use that technician's line more than a couple of times, and
Yeah. Right.
it definitely has paid off, for I think it was like $150, I think, for the lifetime subscription at the time.
Yep.
So it's been worth it. So
Fun fact, when I first got into streaming, I tried OBS, thought it was too complicated, and I went with XSplit because I
yeah,
thought it was easier to use, and
yeah,
I loved it. I loved it. I used it for a couple of years. I had a
yeah,
subscription. I didn't have a lifetime subscription. I just paid monthly or
yep,
every quarter, every 3
yep,
months,
hmm,
and I was loving it. And then I just read as I got more and more used to it, and like like learning the application and stuff.
yep,
And I started doing some reading that like OBS was doing all these awesome different things, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna switch to
switch it
OBS.
over. Yeah.
But I
Well,
switched to Streamlabs OBS first before I went
mhm.
to back to OBS vanilla. Yeah. So
Yeah. I
I
mean,
get where you're coming from with the XSplit. I really liked it, but
yeah,
I just I didn't want to pay for it anymore when
right,
OBS was free,
right,
and in a way I could do bigger and better things with OBS for it being a free application. I just thought,
right,
weighed it up, and it just worked out for me. Anyway, yeah.
right. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, if I were a monthly subscriber for XSplit, yeah, I would definitely switch over to OBS because of the free stuff now. Knowing what
Mm,
I know now.
yeah, knowing what I know
But
now. Yeah, exactly.
right, yeah.
So that the second part of the question was which subscription do you use the most? Which one? What do you think?
Um, it kind of goes, back and forth. We have shows that we watch on HBO now. We have
Yep.
shows that we watch on Disney Plus and Crunchyroll, like I'm on there just about daily. But like out of all of those, the one that I personally use the most
Yeah, what one do you
is
use the most?
Spotify.
Spotify. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no
Yep.
doubt about it. I mean, like
Yep.
I'm on there multiple times a day, every day.
Yep.
So
I love Spotify Premium. I love it.
yeah,
I don't know
I,
what I'd do without it. I don't think I have
I'm the
no
same
idea
way.
I don't know what I'd do without it.
Yep.
Okay,
I've been Go
last
ahead.
question for you before we start the first segment. And this is a new question to the podcast that I'd brought up for today's
Okay.
show. Is what was your first screen device other than a TV? Like you can't say a TV, okay?
Right.
So what is the
Right.
first screen device you've ever owned to view/interact with media on, and what year was it?
Right. Now, do you mean games, right?
Do you want me to go first to give you an
No.
example?
I mean, I think I know what it is for me,
Okay,
but
go.
I mean, like, what I need to know is your
Anything.
definition.
Gaming, TV, your smartphone,
Okay.
your tablet was your first screen device because you're watching Netflix on it. But
This is gonna
this is
date me.
something because TVs date back to what, the 1950s or the
Yeah.
1940s, whatever,
Right.
1950s. So
Yeah. 50s.
we're
Yeah.
you can't count a TV because you were like, I don't know, that technically
I-
is the first screen. That was my
right.
technically it's everyone's first screen media device
No,
that was
this is
ever
something
invented.
that I owned. I was 8 years old, and
Okay.
my first device. If you are saying for something that I owned personally at 8 years old, I
Yeah.
was given a Radio Shack um a football game, right? And it was literally like Pong, right? It had like six little dashes, right? They were like minus signs or dashes, hyphens,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
on either side, right?
Yeah.
And the device somehow had the ability to make one of the dashes uh um brighter than the others, twice as bright, right? And whenever that dash had that on it, it had the ball, right? And it was around the time of like Rubik's cubes and things like that, that like people were oh wow, how'd that happen? Is that you doing that?
Yeah.
Adjusting? Okay, cool. It was around the time of Rubik's cubes, and I was one of those kids that basically like figured out how to annihilate the opponent team, right? So
Yeah.
like I would have, a score of like 150-7 or something ridiculous like that. And like I eventually got to the point where I was like, I would give the opponent the seven the
Yeah.
seven
Right.
points just to like feel, because I was 8 years old and I felt bad for the computer.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Right.
so that's like the earliest like it's definitely not interactive, right?
Okay, but that
Uh,
sounds like a media device to me.
Yeah, right. The earliest like interactive stuff for me was like flip phones and stuff like that. And I was my father is notoriously conservative whenever it comes to technology, right?
Yeah.
So for example, I didn't have a compact disc, and we didn't have compact disc players until 1991, and that was like
Yeah.
well beyond, the compact disc revolution of like the late 80s, you know what I mean? um
Yep. Yep.
so my first like interactive media device would probably have been a flip phone, right, in the early 2000s basically.
Okay.
So
What year was the football game?
that would have been like 1983,
Okay.
1982, somewhere around
Okay.
there.
Okay.
It was right around the time that the Return of the Jedi was coming out.
Yeah. Okay, mine was MS DOS computer. Maybe I think it was an IBM. And
Okay.
I watched and played Prince of Persia and Jill of the Jungle with my dad on a
Classic.
1993 on it was color, and it was a color laptop, and
Mhm.
it had MS DOS, and
Yep.
yeah, that was awesome back
The,
then.
the old
That was
C prompt, C semicolon prompt.
That's it. That's it.
Right. Yep.
All right, that is it for our introduction questions. Let's get on with the rest of the show because we got a
Sure.
lot to cover today, and let's start with the first segment, the news.
Okay.
All right, The Queen's Gambit is now becoming a musical by Esther Zuckerman at Thrillist.com. The Queen's Gambit was an unlikely success story, set the record as the most watched scripted limited series to date as of November 2020 on Netflix. Fun fact. With 62 million member accounts tuning into the show in the first 28 days. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I've watched it. It's great.
I've seen it as well. How much would viewers be truly into a period set show about chess? After all, the answer is, it turns out, it was a lot, with the miniseries, which stars Anya Taylor-Joy, becoming Netflix's most popular limited series and going on to win a Golden Globe and Critics' Choice Awards. The next step for the Queen's Gambit is just surprising. Soon, it will be headed to Broadway. So, Aaron, you just answered this question. Have you seen this series? Yes, you have.
Yep.
Are you into musicals? Because would you go see this?
No, no way.
No.
No way.
No way. Would you watch,
No.
what's her name in the show? Beth. Would you watch Beth sing on stage about winning chess?
No. No, not a chance, man.
I have seen this excellent series, but musicals aren't my thing, so I wouldn't see this if it came to Sydney from Broadway.
Yeah.
So, no.
Sorry.
But really good show. Really good show. Go check it out. It's on Netflix. Still on Netflix. It's a Netflix original.
I mean,
and,
there are certain musicals that I would pay money to go see, maybe with my wife and kid, right? Because I know that they are into it, but would I personally be like, we gotta go see the Queen's Gambit?
Nah.
Hell no.
Hell no. Hell no.
Into the Woods?
Okay.
Yeah, okay, maybe. Cats? Hamilton?
What was the first one? Sorry, what was the first one?
Into the Woods, Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one.
He's the guy that wrote Phantom of the Opera. And
okay.
I don't know if he did the remake of Les Mis or not, but because I have a background in classical music, the violin and the contrabass, I've played a few of those, right? So I think he did Cats too. I think Andrew Lloyd Webber is Cats. So
yeah, okay, no worries. Okay,
Sorry.
Second news article we've got for today is reads Nintendo can't repair some Japanese 3DS models because it's run out of spare parts. This is by Wesley LeBlanc at IGN. Nintendo is ending repairs of the original Nintendo 3DS and 3DS XL a few weeks earlier than expected in Japan. This comes by the way of 4gamer.net as translated by Siliconera, which reports that the final batches of the original 3DS units sent in by March 8, 2021 will be the last batches repaired by Nintendo. The company previously announced on February 25 that it would be no longer offering repairs of the original 3DS and the 3DS XL in Japan due to the difficulty in securing spare parts. After March the 31, 2021. All of this is to say that if you're someone with a Japanese model of the original 3DS or the 3DS XL, unless you've already sent your unit in, you're out of luck as far as the official repairs go by Nintendo. As noted by Siliconera, though, Nintendo's online 3DS services will remain online for the foreseeable future, and Nintendo's official Japanese repair centers will still be accepting repairs for all other 3DS models, like the new 3DS, the Nintendo 2DS, and their XL counterparts. The two models that are being phased out of repairs are the original 3DS and the 3DS XL that were released in 2011 and 2012, respectively. Production of these two models and all other 3DS models ended back in September last year after 9 years of being on the market. Question for you, Aaron. Do you have or have ever owned a 3DS?
No, it was a little bit after my time.
Okay.
So we as kids used to have the little handheld Nintendo device, which was like the size of like a tablet, or maybe like a really big uh, cell phone at this point.
Yep.
It was kind of like a brick, but I have no idea what it was called or anything like that.
Game Boy.
So maybe that was it. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was like the original Game Boy, and it
Game
wasn't
Boy.
mine. It was my brother's.
Okay.
But I would play it often
So
whenever he was not.
that was my next question. If no, what handheld gaming units have you ever owned? So you have had a Game Boy.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and
what have
it
you?
was my bros.
Okay.
I've never really owned one of the handheld devices
Okay.
myself personally,
Yeah.
except for that football game.
Yeah.
Um, so I was kind of a geek when it came to stuff like that, and so I was always playing Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, and
Yeah.
not really doing the handheld gaming console
Yeah. Right.
uh, phase that much.
Okay. I've had a 3DS before, but I sold it due to just not using it. But I've
Yeah,
kept my original Game Boy since 1993. Probably
nice.
taking that one to the grave, or
Yep,
selling it when it becomes super super rare, and I make a
right,
killer profit off it. Killer profit on it.
right. Either that, or one day you will wake up to find that it has been replaced with an imposter, and it is actually buried in a shallow, unmarked grave in the middle of Arizona here in the United States, with 100,000 other copies of E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Okay, let's move on to our next segment. What we're watching. All right, I'll go first. I'm at the moment I'm watching The Walking Dead. It's they're finally releasing the final episodes of season 10. It started on
Wow.
February 28th, and I've
Okay.
been watching that week by week, and it will conclude on the 4th of April. So I'm watching that.
Cool.
It's finally, and I don't know, I can't remember what's happening with season 11. I don't know, it's up in the air or something, but I still love it. I love Walking Dead. I love the zombie. I love the apocalypse. I love the drama with it. I love the
Right.
setting of it. I love all of it. I love it.
Nice.
I can't stop.
I am on season 6 of there. They have like sent out people from the town that they're in, right?
Yeah.
And the town like keeps getting like somebody's sabotaging stuff and like letting zombies in every once in a while,
Yeah.
right?
Keep
So
watching, Aaron. It gets
yep.
so good. This
Oh,
character
yeah.
named Negan is probably the best character in the whole Walking Dead series ever. He's gonna get
Okay.
introduced soon.
Okay.
He's a new bad guy,
Yep.
and he's not a zombie. Obviously not a zombie. He's a
Oh,
human, and
was that the guy that took the bat and like killed the redheaded guy?
yes,
The
yes,
Okay.
that's Negan.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yes,
he was introduced at the very end of the season that I stopped watching.
yes.
So
Keep watching. Negan is so badass. Like,
okay.
it's so good. Yeah, watch.
Okay.
I loved watching all of Negan. Like, it's like such a sick character. So it's so cool.
Okay.
I haven't watched any other new series. I'm not watching anything else at the moment, but I do like the look of this show called Tribes of Europa. It's on Netflix. I
Okay.
think it's German.
Okay.
And it's because it's a dystopian future setting, and like, you know, like the world has ended, and then there's like civilization after the world has ended, and like there's drama, and
Yep.
then there's magic, or like there's something going on, and yeah, it
Cool.
looks cool.
Okay.
Aaron, what are
Yeah.
you currently watching other than we just told us The Walking Dead? Is there anything else you're currently watching in the middle of?
Well, I haven't really technically watched The Walking Dead in a couple years now, to be honest with you.
Okay.
We are just finishing up Game of Thrones.
Okay.
So we've got like 3 episodes left, I think, total
Yep.
in that.
Yep. Yep.
We just watched WandaVision's finale a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
I am a glutton for punishment, and so I am watching One Piece actually
Ooh.
on
Ooh.
Crunchyroll, right?
Okay.
And I am getting towards the end of the Dress Rosa story arc, which is like from episode 650 or something to like 750.
Yep.
So I'm on like episode 725, something around there, right? So I just I got pulled into it, and the writing is so good that I've just kept with it, and I can, crank out two or three of those in a day, and they're about um, they're about 25 minutes long each, with I'd say around 18 or so minutes of new content per episode.
Okay.
And so it's not hard to, like, crank out like two or three of them in under an hour. And then I'm, ready for the next day.
Yeah. Right.
So aside from that, other ones that we've like recently watched.
Wait. Hold it. Hold it. Hold that. Hold
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Okay.
Okay.
What? That's the next one. What we've recently watched.
Okay.
So I'm with you. I just finished WandaVision,
Yep.
and I was gonna ask that. Let's talk about WandaVision for a sec. You've
Sure.
just finished that as well.
Sure.
What did you think? What did you think of it? Because I
Um,
thought it was amazing.
yeah, overall I would give it like definitely a minus. Territory, the writing was quite good. If not a little confusing at times.
Yep.
In terms of like I thought that that Wanda had is it okay for spoilers in here?
Give me a sec.
Okay.
All right, that's a
That's
spoiler alarm.
spoiler
Okay,
alert. Yeah.
go for it. Spoilers.
So as far as the final episode goes, I thought that they had established that Vision was stolen by Wanda, right? And that's why Sword wanted her, right? That's why they had established that the director was pissed off,
Yeah.
right? There was no real resolution of the director for Sword, at the end of the show.
Yeah, he got arrested.
Oh, really? He did? Was that what
Yeah, he
happened?
got arrested. Yeah, he got arrested in the end. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't notice that.
Yeah. It was at the end when when the FBI came in and saved the day, like with all the
Yeah.
and then when they all came in, they took away the director. And
Okay.
what's her name? Darcy, played by Kat Dennings. I love Kat Dennings.
Yep.
Darcy's like, you're gonna go to jail, haha. Or something. She says something to him, or like she drives.
Gotcha.
See, she drives the truck. She drives the truck into him.
Oh,
and then,
yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. So
Yep.
yeah. At the end, there they took him away in handcuffs or something. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's right. Yeah. The Korean FBI guy, the good guy.
Yeah. Jimmy Woo. Jimmy Woo.
Yep.
I love him.
Yep.
I love him.
And
Played
Kat
by
Dennings.
Randall Park. Very good.
Randall Park.
I only watched Ant-Man for the first time a month ago, and that's where Jimmy Woo is introduced to the MCU.
Okay. Yeah.
And then because I watched WandaVision before I watched Ant-Man, so I was watching Jimmy Woo for the first time, and then I read up on articles that Jimmy Woo has come back from Ant-Man. I'm like, oh my god, I can go see Jimmy Woo in Ant-Man, and like he's really good.
Ant-Man
He's really good in Ant-Man. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Ant-Man, but I haven't seen it in a few years now. So so yeah, what else have I just finished? Speaking of sci-fi stuff, you might like a weird one called I'm kind of into weird sci-fi stuff, right?
Yeah, me too. What is it?
So I liked I think it's on Netflix. No, it's on HBO. It's on HBO Max,
Oh
and
shit, I don't get that. Okay.
it's called Raised by Wolves, right?
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
And
Yeah, I
it's
do get
got the
that. It's on. Yeah, I have access to that. Okay,
yep, it's
I've
got the
heard about that.
guy who
Is that weird? Is it
plays
weird sci-fi? Yeah, I'd be into that. Yeah,
super weird sci-fi,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I liked it.
Okay.
It has the guy that played Ragnar Lothbrok from Vikings is one of the protagonists and antagonists, excuse me. And then the gal that played Yara in Game of Thrones, Yara Greyjoy, Theon
Yep,
Greyjoy's sister.
yep,
She is another antagonist. It is very stylistically portrayed,
yep,
right? So it has a lot of this like art nouveau sci-fi, which I love, right? Like kind of
yep.
like the old like Rocket Man stuff, or what was that movie with Jude Law and Giovanni Ribisi in it? Um The Adventures of Tomorrow. It had like Gwyneth Paltrow in it too. It was all in like sepia. It was a full length feature film. It was like Captain Tomorrow and the Adventures of something. I forget what it was, but
Yep.
anyways, I love that kind of like like film noir kind of stuff. Like all the ray guns have like these real stylized rounded edges
Yep.
they look like 50s era Cadillacs, that are there like their guns or their spaceships or stuff like that. So
Yep.
that's Raised by Wolves, and I'm rewatching season 1 of the OA. Have you ever heard of that show?
Yeah, I have. I have. I think I watched like 10 minutes of the first episode. Got bored.
It's
Should I give it another go?
Oh yeah, if you can get past the first episode, right?
Yeah.
The mystery begins to unfold,
Okay.
and for me it just pulled me in. It's much more of a psycho drama. It's not like science fiction with like aliens and robots and stuff like that, right? It's just beautifully rendered storytelling,
Yeah. Right.
right? So
Okay.
you'll go to different dimensions, but you don't know if it's
Yep.
like a different dimension or just like something in her head, you know what I
Yep.
mean, of the
Yep.
OA,
Yep.
right?
Okay.
So it's quite good, and I haven't seen season 2 yet, but season 1 is wrapped up and over, and season 2 has been released too. And unfortunately, Netflix said that they are not going to be releasing a season 3, but it's got this like cult following of people,
Yeah. Right.
right? And like these really weird suggestions that like at the end of season 2 they suggested that like season 3 might be like something that's going on in real life, and that they're like filming it not in front of like a camera crew, but it's like going to be put together by
Yep.
God, who is one of the main bad guys is a guy named Jason Isaacs, right?
Yep.
And he went on Oprah, right? And was wearing the same outfit that he was wearing at the end of season 2. You
Okay.
see what I mean? So that like it's like some people are suggesting that season 3 is actually being like portrayed in reality, right?
Yeah.
Does
Right.
that make sense? Instead of
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
instead of
Okay.
like
Okay.
actually being presented as an actual show.
Okay.
Uh, I mean, it's anybody's guess if that it's actually happening or not. But anyway, it's just cool stuff like that makes me, that like whole conspiracy theory kind of thing, and
Yep.
the psychodrama aspect of the OA. So that's another one that I've been watching and
Okay.
rewatching.
Okay. I finished my full MCU watch through
Nice.
recently. It started so this is the backstory. Um I started it when I was about 4 or 5 episodes deep into WandaVision. So I rewatched Age of Ultron so I could see Wanda first get introduced again.
Yep. At the end of
And
that.
then I was like, after watching that, I was like, dude, I want to see the whole MCU from start to finish. And luckily for me, Disney Plus has it all in order, except Hulk and the new Spider-Mans. But
Right.
it's got everything else. And I watched it all in order, and I loved it. And
That's awesome.
And I loved it. And I finished with watching the finale of WandaVision as well, which was good. And now we've also got Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming out tomorrow for me, the 19th.
Really cool.
Coming out on the 19th, which is going to be good.
That's this weekend.
That's this weekend. Yeah.
Wow.
Also, I watched a Netflix documentary on the Notorious B.I.G., which was really good. It showed a lot of footage of him growing up and to like present day interviews with his mum and like close friends and stuff, and they were like
probably
retelling the whole story of his upbringing and like how he rose to fame and like how everything leading up to his death and everything. It was really, really interesting. Like I've seen the movie that portrays his life called Notorious, and that's with actors and that's with like and that portrays his life. I've seen that before, but this was an actual documentary with the real mother, the real like close frids with Puff
Lil
Daddy,
Kim and
with P
Kim
Diddy,
and
everyone,
Cool.
yeah. So it was really good. Also watched Rocket Man for the first time. I just like I really like Elton John, and I just like I've been it's been on my list for a while. I didn't go to the cinema to watch it, but I just thought, you know what, when it comes out on Netflix, I'll watch it there, and it has. It's on Netflix, and it was okay. It would have been better if it wasn't a semi-musical. Yeah. Like, it was half a musical. Like, they were doing singing. Like, that was... Like, I wish they just told his story like a movie. Not like something happens in his life and then they all just fucking burst out in a song and start singing and dancing. And I'm like... I'm like, don't get me wrong. I like the songs, but, like, I wish they told his proper... Like, his whole story... as a proper movie. Like,
without choreography and shit.
Without singing and dancing, I think I would have liked it better, Last thing I watched, which is something that you will like, Aaron, is some weird sci-fi movie. It's called, it's on Netflix. It's called Space Sweepers. It's an incredible Korean space orbit action flick. I started with subtitles only.
Yeah.
And then for the first 15 minutes, I was watching it with subtitles only. And then I switched. I thought I'd try the dubs.
Okay.
And the dubs, just to see how they were. And they were amazing. The dubs they had were like spot on. That was spot on. The actors, they sounded just like the actors would.
Nice.
And I watched, it's about this dystopian future where the Earth is uninhabitable and it's all polluted, and then like everyone lives in space.
Yeah.
And these people, and there's spaceships, and there's like people make money from like selling and salvaging space debris and stuff, and they've got a society in the orbit and stuff. People still live on Earth, but everyone lives with masks because it's unbreathable.
Yep.
And it's got English actors in it. They speak English a lot in this movie, but the main characters are Korean because it's like the spaceship with the main characters is a Korean spaceship with the Korean captain and Korean pilot and Korean engineer, and they speak Korean. That's why I got dubs on. But like the main bad guy speaks English. The other guy is French and he speaks English, and there's another guy. So it's really cool. It's on Netflix, Aaron. Check it out. It's a really cool space sci-fi movie. Space Sweepers on Netflix. Really cool.
Have you ever watched? Do you watch The Expanse?
Oh my god! Yes, I'm up to date with The Expanse. I love The Expanse.
Okay.
I think that's the best sci-fi show series ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, we agree. We just kept watching it and we couldn't stop watching it, right? So
Yep.
we're fully caught up. We're
Yep.
ready for season 6, which will be
Yep.
the last
The
season,
final
right?
season. Yep.
Yeah. So we're super hyped about stuff like that. So
Here's a question for you to go with my last thing. Subs, Aaron? Subs or dubs? What is your preference?
I like subtitles because I like reading, right?
Yeah.
It's another thing for me that like I have always been like a lifelong reader, and so I don't mind subtitles at all. Um I um I have no way to gauge, like there's a lot of people that for example with anime and things like that are like scoff at Americans who prefer the subtitles because
Yep.
they say that the Japanese actors are so bad,
Yep.
right? But because I can't understand what the Japanese are saying, only their inflections, it
Uh huh.
doesn't make as much of a difference to me, you know.
So for
So
me, okay,
my
go. Sorry.
preference is subtitles.
Okay. It depends for me if the dub sounds like the actors,
Uh-huh.
and because I've seen some dubs sound really awful, like
Yeah.
some really bad. If that's the case, I'll just stick to subtitles. But
Yep.
with the Space Sweepers movie, I actually watched it with subtitles on and dubs, and the dubs matched when the dubs match the subtitles. I think that's perfect.
Cool.
So sometimes I do both.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's not bad. I need to do that more. I'm just like I'm I'm always moving forward and rarely moving back. Like it's very rare for me to go back and like with the OA, for example, like watch something a second time,
Yeah.
because there's always something cool and new and that I haven't seen yet,
Yeah.
So I always prefer new to rewatching old, you
Yeah.
know. So
Even with an English show, I'll put subtitles on just so I can read it.
that's something that my wife does too, because she is hard of hearing,
Yeah.
and it's so the subtitles just help her.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that probably I have gotten used to over the years of living with her is just leaving the subtitles on.
Yeah. Yeah. All
So
right. Let's move on. Let's keep it moving. Let's move on to our next segment. What we're playing. All right, Aaron. Last time we talked about gaming, and last time we were playing something together was New Year's Eve, and it was our Diablo 3 party. Have you
yeah,
have
that
you
was
have
fun.
you been playing Diablo since?
No, very little.
Okay.
maybe one or two times, and I was always like, this would be a lot more fun with if Ozzy and company were here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
However, the good thing is that I at least got some decent loot since
Nice.
since you guys, because I was always like the wait for baby character, you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
playing with you guys. And I'm also not, I mean, there are people that can just play games like Diablo 3 ad nauseum, you know what I mean? Like over
Yeah.
and over and over again. And so they don't like stop and listen to the conversations or like watch the cinematics or anything like that anymore
Yeah.
because they've seen it like a million times,
Yeah.
and I understand that. But for me, I'm always like, well, yeah, let's just see what he has to say, like
Mm.
maybe he'll say something different, or I don't know. So anyways, no, I've been playing a lot of Inquisitor Martyr on my Xbox since it came to my Xbox One. And gosh, what else? Borderlands 3. I'm getting back into Borderlands 3 now that the renovations are done in the kitchen and all that kind of thing.
Yep.
And life is kind of getting back to normal here. Like I was able to I have it on compact disc, and so
I
I had to reinstall it in the in on the Xbox One and that type of thing. So
Yeah.
And that's about it. I really like my PC down here is almost exclusively used for streaming. And so there's very little gaming going on my PC down here.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm more of the Xbox One guy, and I keep it all upstairs. And I also play a couple of like, stupid mobile games on my phone.
Yep.
Not really worth mentioning, but it's just something to pass the time.
Yep.
Time killers, really.
Okay. Is there anything on your radar that you want to play in the near future?
No, not really. As I said, like I've had an Xbox One since the day one release, 2013.
Yep.
And it's the same console, so it's 8 years old now, and it's still running. And I probably have 10 or 12 games for my Xbox One that I purchased. Otherwise they're like the freebie download ones and things like that. You know what I mean? Like Inquisitor Martyr and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really more of a casual gamer in terms of computer games. I'd much rather be playing 40K or
Yep.
painting or streaming or
Yep.
doing that kind of thing.
Yep. Fair call, fair call. I'm about 20 hours into my Stardew Valley playthrough
Yeah,
as I've announced on stream.
yeah.
I'm pushing for 100% run on this new beach farm that I'm slowly making progress, but this might take a while. So
Cool.
it might be a while, but it's going to be
Gotcha.
it's a marathon, not a sprint. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's gonna take a lot of that. I've also been playing a lot of WoW as well on my rogue, slowly upgrading my gear and playing random battlegrounds, which I enjoy.
Nice.
I've even been playing my main alt, a Blood Elf Priest, which is fun as
Cool.
well. And I even started a new character with a friend, um, and which is a Tauren Druid, and he's a Tauren Shaman, and we're both up to level 30 already. So
Nice.
we've been enjoying that as well, which is fun.
Grinding through, huh?
We play every once a week, once a fortnight, just
There
whenever
you go.
he's available, whenever I'm available. Yeah, we play
Right.
together, which is fun, which is good,
Right.
which is how WoW should be. You got to play with friends.
Yeah.
So, and usually this is the moment when I usually say special shout out to a game that I haven't played in years that I bought like 2 years ago and I haven't
Okay.
played yet. But I finally started Jedi Fallen Order.
Nice,
Finally,
man.
finally, I've played the first hour. The first hour sequence is amazing. The story of
Nice.
it, of the build up, the start of it, the foundation. I'm now on the first planet with the puzzles and the exploration, and I'm going to be slowly getting through that as well. So I'm really enjoying that as well.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Last segment of the day, and then we'll do a Q&A with the chat room, which
Okay.
is, what have you been streaming?
Um,
Aaron, tell us about your stream, about
sure,
the
man.
current settings or the future plans,
Yeah,
and yeah, and what
sure.
tell us about it. What's going on? What's
Okay.
going on with you, man, over there?
Well, I mean, as you know, I'm a hobby streamer. We talked about this a little bit earlier too, where like I just try and foster an environment where people can roll in and relax to my tunes and talk about the hobby while they're hobbying, while I'm hobbying. Um, I've
Yep,
always been, I've always wanted to be more of a kind of a Bob Ross relaxed approach to my
yep,
stream.
yep,
And I think with the help of everybody that comes in, we've managed to build a community that does just that, where
yep,
um, it encourages people to share their work and support me in Patreon and other ways. But again, that's not the point of the stream. um I if anything, the stream is that kind of like hangout hobby area, and then also as a vehicle to raise awareness for my commission services and things like that. So as far as future plans go, I've got a lot of content lined up for 2021. Obviously, we kind of got sidetracked with the Necron project. That became like, it started off as the Command Edition. Let's paint up the Command Edition and get that all painted. So whenever I get new people over to play
Yep.
40K with me, that they can play with fully painted armies and fully painted terrain, right?
Yeah.
So I painted
Yeah.
all the terrain. I painted up all like 35 or so miniatures in that
Mm-hmm.
set, and it's all done, right? Um, and then all of a sudden, I was, somehow thinking, what would be cool would be to have another 10 warriors with the Goss Reapers instead of the old Goss Flayers, right? And so I found another, set of 10 warriors online for like $20 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then at the same time, I found somebody that was like, "Hey, does anybody want to split the Indominus set with me?"
Beautiful.
Right, and I'll do it for $70. And I was like, I got $70, I'll take some, 20 more warriors, and all that stuff. And then I started thinking, well, one canoptic reanimator is cool, but what about two canoptic reanimators and maybe a
Yeah.
plasmancer?
Yeah.
And so those showed up, and then all of a sudden I'm like, balls deep in Necrons and surrounded by little silver dudes everywhere. You know what I mean? So it just sort of grew into this army that I had no intention of starting.
Yeah. Right.
So so once all of the Necrons are done, we'll go back to Sisters of Battle probably,
Yep.
and finish up a few. I've got like 4 or 5 maybe units of Sisters of Battle that I'd like to finish up. I have a smattering of Grey Knights still. I've got
Yep.
a couple of characters and a couple of vehicles,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
dreadnoughts
Yep.
basically to do for them.
Yep.
And then my next like long-term project, like the Sisters of Battle,
Ooh.
which I've been working on off and on since 2018, since the beta codex for it came out with the chapter approved back in
Yep.
like 2018, 2019, is going to be AdMech, right?
AdMech.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, yeah. Because I love John Blanche artwork, right?
Yep.
Like John Blanche stuff is what originally got me into 40K, was
Okay.
my sort of fascination with his highly detailed, super dark, gothic, grim dark artwork, right? John Lawrence Blanche. And so almost all of my armies have been uh, um, influenced by that art style, right?
Yep.
My Imperial Guard army is Vestroyans, right? Which are literally taken right off of the pages of Blanche's artwork. The Necrons, the same kind of thing. The Blood Angels and Dark Angels, more or less have been heavily influenced by Blanchitsu artwork and their sort of grim dark approaches to things. The
Yeah.
Sisters of Battle are like super influenced by his stuff and all the like inquisitorial, like kind of evil good guys, things like that. I just love
Yeah.
all of that like duality and um, the um, the sort of duality of man theme that like runs through all of his artwork.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so I definitely try and bring that to all of at least the Imperial armies that I play. Obviously you can't really say that that's part of a Necron or a Xenos army, um but yeah, AdMech is just the last one of those, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There really has that heavy John Blanche influence to it.
Okay.
So that's the plan going forward for that. So I'm
That's
pretty
a lot.
excited about
That's
it,
a lot
actually.
on the books. That's awesome.
It
You
is.
got a lot of stuff coming up. That's heaps good.
It is.
I
Yeah.
have to agree with what you were saying about, like, I've been in your streams, multiple times,
Mm.
and it is a very Bob Ross, type of feeling where it's like relaxing, and it's like, and also gives like, I have before had inspiration from
Mm.
you to get on and start painting just by watching you for a couple of,
That's
for an
awesome.
hour or
That's awesome.
something, and that's coming from myself, and
Mhm.
100% others would be the same,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, and exactly that's what you
It's
want and stuff.
that's
And
always a huge compliment for me whenever you or someone else is like, you know what, like, this is inspiring me to get out my stuff and paint, like
yeah, dude, just
I
watching
always
you,
try and tell them.
just watching, like, yeah, just watching, exactly, just watching you, like, yeah, 100%.
Mhm.
Here's my next question.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll before we get into the next question, I'll answer my own question with an
Sure.
answer for myself. For me, this past week has been week 1 of my new no schedule.
Yeah.
Because I've decided to ditch the traditional and go with a stream when I feel like it method,
Yeah.
because I hate the feeling like it's a job with a start time on particular days. Like, I know I'm probably the only one that feels like this, but it goes against every stream guide saying a consistent schedule helps people follow you and helps you grow. But I just can't
Right.
shake the horrible feeling about being forced to stream, and when
Yeah.
sometimes you're just not in the mood. When you're just not in the
Yeah.
mood.
Yeah. it's
So
it's one thing to be like, I'm consistent because I'm trying to build a brand and like start a following and get paid, you know what I
yeah,
mean, to be a
yeah,
Twitch streamer, right? And that's
yeah,
that's like the end goal for those people, right? But like for people like yourselves and myself, like, first of all, the creative community is not that big, right? So we're not talking about a viewership pie, of like, hundreds of thousands of viewers,
yeah,
right? Like we are with a video game pie, if
yep,
if the total viewership were a pie, right?
yep,
um so we don't need to fight for that continuity, right? It really comes down to content for us, you know what I'm saying?
yep,
And so the consistency is less important than what you're actually saying, because we can talk to our audience. We can interact. We don't have to be like, okay, there's 6,000 people in our chat, so we have to limit our chat to only our subscribers, who might be like 1,000 of those 6,000 viewers. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
in a video
yeah,
game stream, it happens to that. It gets to that point with people where they're like the audience is just an afterthought to the
mm,
actual content creation, you know so I would encourage people like yourself and other people that are creative streamers, variety streamers, whatever, to not focus so much on it's 9:30 a.m., it's 10:30 p.m., whatever, to consistently hit that schedule. I would just encourage them to focus more on their content, you know.
yeah, 100%. So that's why I'm just like, I want to be inspired. I want to be motivated. I want to be, and
Mhm.
like I'm yes, I'm building a channel. Yes, I'm building a brand, but like, I also am, I don't want this to be a job. I have a job, and I'm in the process of getting another job, and this has always been my hobby.
Yep.
So I want this to be on my terms. I want this. Look. I'm doing the podcast when we feel like it. I want to
Absolutely.
do painting when I feel like it. I want to play games when I feel like it. And And if people find me, people find me. If people don't, people don't. You know, I want to do it for when I want to enjoy my experience. So to me, to fully enjoy my experience, fully, properly, I want it to be on my terms, not as I'm just against. I have to say it. I'm against the schedule. I know it works for a lot of people. I know it works for keeps people organized and it keeps people formulated and it helps people grow and it helps people follow you and all that. I understand that.
Yep.
It just doesn't work for me. I've come to that conclusion. Anyway. When something Yeah, Brian in the chat says when something turns into a scheduled thing, you have to push things around for it's no longer just a hobby. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Here's my question that I was saving for before is have you who have you been watching who have you been watching on Twitch recently? Do you have anyone you want to give any mentions to? Any mentions to? Yeah. Any special mentions that who you've been watching?
I have a few favorites of people that I love to turn to and host into. They're both women actually.
Okay.
One of them is of course my friend Jen,
Jeninator.
Who is a comicatrix.
I follow Jeninator because of you.
Yeah, she is so great. And what I love about Jen is her energy, right? She's like, if she's feeling shit, or excuse me, if she's feeling poorly, or if she's feeling great, or she's celebrating something, she is always in the moment, you know what I mean? So that's one. Another one is a newer very, very mellow lady. Her name is Still a Rebel. She is streaming out of Tokyo, actually Hokkaido prefecture, northern Japan, and is a fantastic. She is a great artist. She uses oils to paint her miniatures, so she's part of that kind of oil renaissance that's going on right now, right? But she is a fantastic person and loves to talk about culture. She's an Italian lady living in Japan and working and painting. So she's fantastic. The last person that I would shout out is a nomadic Chris Adams, right?
Yeah.
And if you know Chris is a morning streamer. He streams for like 90 minutes every day before he goes to work, and he's a great guy, a fantastic streamer on the East Coast of the United States, and just does some fantastic work and is great company too. So those are the three that I've been around a lot lately.
Yeah, nice. I've popped into a few mini painter streams lately, like yours and a guy named Serentus.
Yep.
And I've also been watching rewatching because I haven't seen him in a while. I've been watching Kit Boga. He's this guy that he gets about 10,000 viewers per stream, big streamer, but he's on the Just Chatting channel, and he basically calls real scammers in India and other countries and pretends to be either an old lady or an old man with an incredible voice changer, and he tries to waste their time, and it's so funny.
That's awesome.
And he's not just doing it for the laughs. He is doing it for the laughs, but he's also doing it for a good cause because he's raising awareness to people about these scammers are real, and he shows people that how tricky they can be and how they trick you and how they can trick your grandmother or your auntie or your grandpa or something into getting into their computer. And then saying, "Oh, we've transferred you $5,000," which they haven't. And then they say you have to give us the money back, or we're going to go to the police or whatever, or they have some scam. And he goes along with it, and he tricks them. He has a fake computer that they log into,
Yep.
He has a fake computer set up. It's fucking his setup is insane. It's
That's awesome.
so good, and it's such a funny stream to watch and listen to. He does tricks on him. He makes him sing songs. He does all sorts of stuff to him. It's so funny, but it's also very, very educational.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, that's it for that segment. We're gonna go into our final segment of the day. I don't have a jingle for it, but
That's okay.
we have a Q&A segment. This is at the end of the show where we take questions from the chat room. If we have any questions from the chat room, let us know now. Otherwise, we will wrap this show up. Okay. I will, while we're waiting for if there's any questions from the chat. I will ask Aaron a random question that I just thought off the top of my head. That's to do with the show. Who is your all-time favorite Batman, and why is it Christian Bale?
It's the voice, dude. It's got to be the voice.
Oh, I am the knight that the city needs.
That's right. Yeah, it has to be the voice, right?
Because Ben Affleck can't do the voice.
He can't.
Let's be real.
Val Kilmer, Michael Keaton, George Clooney, none of them can do the voice.
Nah,
Christian Bale could do the voice.
Here's the voice. I am the nut. I am what the city needs. I'm the villain.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's got to be the voice.
What's the most famous quote from The Dark Knight? It's like it's what Harvey Dent says.
It's not what this city needs. I'm what this city deserves.
No, the one I'm thinking of is you're the man who you're the hero until you become the villain or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
you're the hero. You're the hero until you see yourself become the villain or something like that. I gotta look it up.
Cool.
Dark Knight.
Harvey Dent quote, right?
Harvey Dent quote. There we go. All right. The night is the darkest before the dawn. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Where is it? Oh no, it's the night. The night is the darkest before the dawn, and I promise you, the dawn is coming.
There you go.
That's good.
That's a good one.
We'll go with that.
Yep.
All right. If we're not getting any questions for our Q&A, that's perfectly fine. It's there if anyone wants to ask us any questions at the end. Doesn't look like any questions today. That's totally cool. We'll wrap things up, and dude, we'll say a big thank you to everyone watching and listening. And the biggest thanks to my guest co-host this week, AaronJBang. Aaron, dude, if anyone wants more of you, where can they find you?
Let's see, www.twitch.tv/AaronJBang. No spaces. All one word, AaronJBang.
And he's live 5 days a week.
Yep, mostly. When I feel like it.
Mostly. Awesome.
Yep.
You can follow the show on I heard Brian in the chat banging out those minis.
Yep.
That's it. You can follow the show at the Gold Times Pod. Also, you can follow me on social media. I'm everywhere at Oz Gold Times. So you can also
follow.
Follow. You can also grab the show and all previous shows either on video, on the Oz Gold Times YouTube channel, or the audio version are now available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and other podcast services around the area. Just search The Gold Times, all one with spaces, The Gold Times, and the links are in our Twitter. Hopefully, see you again.
Yep.
We will see you again, and of course, enjoy your screen times. Thank you so much, everybody.